this is Annie Grace, and welcome to this Naked Mind podcast. I have a special guest with me today. This is Danita, and she's going to talk about your story. So welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. And as I say on your app, which I love, those people have pulled me through. At one point, it seemed like the impossible. And you too with your book. So I always say you guys are the best friends I've never met.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a really cute saying. I'm gonna use that. It's adorable.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So why don't you walk us all the way back sort of to the very beginning with you? Where did it all start?
Okay. Well, I'm 61, so it's going to be a long walk. No, I'll shorten my walk. I was raised by actually non-drinkers. So in a way, I felt like my alcohol car had no brakes. I'm like, just go. But actually, I didn't, like in high school, I didn't experiment like most kids. I was more into donuts and fudgsicles, and anyway. But I remember getting a cold once, and I guess my mom bought me some NyQuil. And so I'm drinking the NyQuil and sleeping really great. And I'm thinking, hey, this is pretty good stuff. So, although it's actually horrible stuff, I kept drinking, taking the NyQuil after I didn't have a cold, I remember, and of course it's got a big percentage of alcohol in it. I don't know, 10 maybe. I stepped off the school bus one day, and of course I'd started drinking like, say, the cup and a half instead of just a cup. And I got really dizzy, and I thought, oh, I better quit drinking that. So in a way I was smarter then. Later on, I had a boyfriend for a couple of years, from 20 to 22. He told me he was an alcoholic, and I'm okay, whatever. And they say the first step to recovery is admitting it. Well, that was the first, last, and only step he was going to do. So on the days he worked through the week, he'd drink beer. On the weekends, he'd carry around a little flask in his pocket. And I'm thinking, what do you need that for? And anyway, we broke up, which was really good. And let's see, then I got married at 23, I think it was. I had 3 kids in the 80s. And during that time, I really didn't drink at all. And even before that time with the boyfriend, it was just social drinking. And, not bad. At one point, I had this little almost alert in my head. If you drink any more than this, you're going to get sick. And I'd slow down and stop. Eventually, you drink long enough, there is no alert anymore. So, yay. I really admire my daughter at 29. We were talking one day, and I had told her, I wasn't even in trouble by then. She had told me that she didn't get that alert, and she stopped at 29. I think she went to some AA meetings and stuff. And so I was so proud of her. I mean, the young people that catch it and stop, they're amazing because, they've got the more peer pressure, whether you're a young mom, with all these wine clubs. I don't know if they get together with the kids and drink wine, who drives, but anyway, it's just weirdness. I'm glad that I didn't have that then, because, that had probably sounded pretty good to me. But through the kids when they were little, they were 2 years apart, I really didn't drink at all, hardly. I remember I went back to work when my youngest was 18 months old. I did a 3 to 11 shift. My husband was going to school on the VA. So it worked out perfect. We didn't have babysitters. And one night after work, I went to a bar hopping, with these 2 girls. This is the first time I've drank in years and years. The smaller girl I was with she thought she was pregnant, so she stayed clear of the alcohol. The other girl, I thought, well, I'm bigger than her. I'll just match her drink for drink. Well, she drank all the damn time. I didn't know this. Um, they dropped me, yeah, they dropped me off at home, and I was feeling good. I was like doing that risky business slide across the floor with the socks. I was having a great old time. And then it hit me. And in the hallway bathroom, I was throwing up, like a scene from The Exorcist, not, curled on the, and when I wasn't curled on the ball, on the ball, in a ball by the toilet. It woke my husband up. He comes out and he says, you got to get up. You got to move. You got to go to bed. Our daughter, when she gets up, she'll think you're dead. If the bedroom's, I don't know how I didn't wake up all the kids. I said, I will be dead by then, I mean, I felt like I probably should have gone to the emergency room, but I also felt like, oh, if you die of this, you really deserve that. But anyway, got me to bed. I didn't drink much at all then. When the kids were a little older, we had trouble. We separated. I had a friend. We had social drinking. It was still the honeymoon phase of the whole alcohol thing. And so it was, good times. I didn't drink too much. My son, my youngest son, I've told the kids about the interview, and he says, he's like, he wants honorable mention. He was terror teen. He was absolutely terror teen. He says, I probably drove you to drink. I said, no, you didn't. I said, I didn't even drink that much then. I did a few social drinking with my friends. I never went to the extreme with that because I really had to keep my wits about me for this kid. We couldn't both be nuts, so anyway, so, and I also believe, I know people can push your buttons. People can make you want to drink. People can do all, but ultimately you're the one that picks up the drink. You're the one that's harming your body and your mind. And you can blame somebody else all you want, but that was your decision to do it. And I told him, no, I said, you are not at all to blame at all. And I said, and for one thing, I didn't really get started until I was like 50. And at this point, I believe, you can probably tell me if this is true or not, I must have hit the two largest growing populations of the drinkers, the older people and the women. Woo, yeah. Go me. Anyway, so, and it starts out, I'm still, like, me and my husband was an empty nest, and we're like a couple of frat boys, like I said, my family came, they were non-drinkers. My grandmother actually said once, lips that touch liquor will never touch mine, which, got an eye roll, of course, but anyway, they were Baptists, and Baptists don't drink, well, unless it's secret, most of them, I guess. And I always thought, well, for his first miracle, Jesus turns the water into wine. So I single-handedly went around to change this Baptist. That's no fair to leave it to just the Catholics, Methodists, or whoever's doing it. And I love being a Christian, but yeah, this was not going to work. Turns out, those Baptists are onto something, because I don't care whether you are the most devout Christian in the world or an atheist. You drink enough, you're going to violate your own moral code, cord, whatever. Anyway, so like I say, we're still in the honeymoon phase, from the 50 to 55, having a grand old time with our little wine and his beer, and sometimes he'd buy a big bottle of whiskey and stuff. And it was really kind of happy. Now I can disassociate happiness from the alcohol. It's the experiences, the people you're with. That's what makes you happy. And half the time I can't even remember stuff. So eventually, it got more and more. I really don't like a lot of reality. And I'm a magic pill person. If I could have, well, I'll get to a pill later, but anyway, if I could have had my little alcohol monster surgically removed, done it in a minute. I just, I wouldn't have hesitated. I'd rather have major surgery than like do anything actually work. Anyway, 2015, I went to a party, a get together at work, and I work with nurses. I'm what they call a health unit coordinator, where it's a unit secretary. You watch the heart monitors, so on and so forth. And so I go to this party with nurses, and I am a funny drunk, quite entertaining apparently. So I was drinking, and funny enough, even though the alert hadn't been going off, I kind of got that feeling like, oh, you got to slow down or stop. Well, they kept, and these are nurses, a couple of them, kept handing me drinks, kept handing me drinks, kept handing me drinks. I only remember the beginning and the end of that party, and the husband was taking videos. I didn't even realize much about blackouts. I know, obviously, I had had them before because I'd wake up, and my sense of humor is a blessing and a curse. I can find humor in just about anything. So I'd get up in the mornings hungover thinking, oh, God, I'm sore. What happened? What did drunk me do now? And, there'd be bruises all over my arms and different places. And I was like, oh, this is, and not remember. I somehow don't even associate that with a blackout. I didn't know people had that they were real or something. I don't know. Anyway, so during this party, my husband was filming the different things. I was walking around talking, performing fake. I was like what you'd call the life of the party, performing fake marriage ceremonies. My friend had a couple of unfortunate marriages, and she was dating another guy, and which I said, oh, don't you guys get married. Anyway, it was, I saw this video. I could not believe it. I was actually horrified that I just couldn't believe seeing myself walking around, talking, directing people, doing all this stuff, just having a great time, no memory at all of any of it. And at the end of the party, the last part I remember, as I was leaving the party, one of the other guests looks at me she goes, what are you going to do about the drinking? And I'm like, God, I thought she was like way worse than me. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm in deep shit now. Anyway, so that was what I call my what fresh hell is this search. I searched online. I found your book because I was looking for alternative to AA because I wanted power over this. I didn't want to say I was powerless. I don't have a problem with the Christian aspect. I wish I could talk. It would help in interviews, if you could talk. But anyway, I wish I had that. I've lost it. Yeah, I don't mind the Christian aspect. But on the other hand, I got myself into this mess. I felt I should get myself out. Who's got better things to do? And I didn't want to, I don't know if it's a woman thing or an older woman thing, but to go to a meeting and stand up and say, I'm Danita, an alcoholic for the next however long I live, when I don't drink, I like a few of their things, one day at a time. That really helped this last time I quit. But anyway, getting back to your book, I found your book. I read your book, 2015, the first printing, I believe that was, right?
Yeah, yep.
And Oh, it clicked. It was like, this is it. Yay, I've got it. This is the ticket. I'm out of here. You know, this is great. I got on your website, this Naked Mind community. I was doing all these profound blogs, and I was posting, and just, you know, anybody that was struggling, give them a little help or something. And it's like I missed the whole darn point or something, because after a while, I was doing so well. I thought, well, yeah, I'm sure I can drink again. There's no problem. I got this. I got this. So I don't got this. I started drinking, and every time, 100% failure on moderation. There was no, you know, I just fell deeper and deeper every time. I once ordered snow boots online. I wasn't even sure what I'd done till I got up, and I still wasn't sure. I thought, oh God, I hope I didn't order snow boots. I got one of these little Uggs, the darker brown mid calf. I get in the mail, tall calf, you know, up to the knee, light suede boots with winter sweater material sewn around their ankles. And I thought, yeah, that's the look I had too. I thought, yeah. They did come in handy later, because in May of 2017, of course, I'm still in the midst of all my shit. And the husband, I noticed he was drinking 6 beers a day. And I noticed he was creeping up sometimes to 8, 7. He denies 9, but I remember 9. Anyway, I told him, I said, you know, we're getting too old not to have health consequences for our actions. And he must have been thinking about it, or because he was one of those spontaneous quit persons. I gave him Jason Vale's book. I thought he'd relate better to that, you know, as a man. And he only read, you know, part of it and quit. He stayed a non-drinker from May to May. He decided to celebrate his year with beer. So, I mean, we get completely different mindsets about this. He still misses it. He might have a beer once in a while. I'm, you know, afraid he'll fall into the pitcher plant eventually. And then I, you know, had gotten so almost hopeless by this point. I finally decided, because I kept trying this way over and over again. And I finally got to the point, I thought, well, AA must be right. I am powerless over this. I've lost all control. I mean, I would wake up, and like I said, bruises, and my husband would be so depressed that the people at work, I work night shift, they're gonna think I beat you. Well, he didn't. I would kill him. And so drunk me or sober me? No, we're not going to do that. Anyway, so I'd wear long sleeves, the lab jacket all night. But one day I wake up. This was something. I had so many red flags, I could have wallpapered the earth. And, you know, I had to be hit over the head with them also. Anyway, and like I said, my sense of humor, it's just kind of bit me in the butt, because I got up one morning and I had a cut over this eye, a slightly black eye. And I had taken those steri strips, the butterfly bandages, and closed the cut with these. I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, I could not have found those bandages sober. I have no memory of the fall. I didn't have to work that night, so I was able to leave the cut closure strips on. When I did go back to work, you know, of course I took them off. I did the makeup so well you could hardly notice. And I remember saying, yeah, I tripped over the cat. I got a gray floor, got a gray cat. It could have happened. It looked like I fell headfirst into a counter, you know, edge. So, by the way, I got to hand it to Drunk Me. I fixed that cut so well, a plastic surgeon couldn't have done it better. I don't, you know, every once in a while, Drunk Me would be like, most of the time, Drunk Me was like, what? did you do? Well, I woke up one morning, I'd put a frozen chicken thigh in the crock pot and dumped a drained can of corn over it. I mean, I was very disappointed in drunk me that day because I thought, the dogs is not, it was horrible. Out it went. But yeah, it's like most anybody else would have these things and I got to quit. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. But anyway, so 2015, one day I'm like, okay, so I am powerless. I print out all the AA information for about the 4th time and just still couldn't bring myself to go. But I had decided that I was going to order drugs from India. I was either going to get naltrexone or antabuse and go to AA whenever they got here. Well, that locked up my account because I work night shift and I tried to purchase drugs from India at 3 in the morning. So in the meantime, with my account locked up, I went back to YouTube and saw different things. I saw Kevin O'Hara's Alcohol Mastery. He had this $10 little course. And I thought, well, I'll just do that. And I kind of got to re-energize and starting to believe it would work again. It didn't. It did for a while. And those stupid the boots, I'd hide wine in the boots because my husband did quit in May. And it sounds self-serving that you're hiding stuff, but honestly, I know how I think. And if he had started drinking again, well, that's my ticket. I'm going to drink again too. So I didn't want him to know. So for 3 months, I managed to hide it. And then finally, I got back into your book. I got the audio version and the website, trying to get help, to get out of this. And I came up with since I seem to be hopelessly stuck, I came up with the worst moderation plan in the history of moderation plans, I would guess. I bought 1 bottle of wine daily. And you should see me in the store trying to buy the wine. I am looking at the alcohol content, the this and that. I haven't choosing the right. Of course, I want the highest. And that's one thing about being a non-drinker I don't miss is alcohol. You know how people pair alcohol with food and stuff. I'd get the strongest stuff. I was for effect only. If it was too strong, I'd put ice in it and dump a couple of packs of sweetener, totally ruin the wine for everybody else in the world. But and I found out another unfortunate thing. I don't know if it's age or what, but I could now black out on a fewer amount of alcohol. Of course, I'm always a binge drinker. I mean, it turned into be daily. If you drink a daily bottle of wine, that's a binge drink right there. So one night, I was drinking my wine. I spilled my wine. I'm not sure how much I had drank, but I was literally devastated. I mean, devastated that I had spilled my only wine. And the reason this moderation plan worked is because I would not drink and drive. Coffee, I thought. Anyway, but you see what you want to see. You make yourself believe what you want to believe. I spilled that wine. I was owed that wine. That was my plan for the night. I had to have that wine. So I got in the car and I convinced myself, you didn't have that much, I got in the car and went and got another bottle of wine. I barely remember the drive. I say in my little story, I had a minor damage to the car, like a scratch dent on a guardrail. And I'm not even really sure if that was it, because a few weeks ago, I was going down the woods to the home, and there's some rocks close to the edge. And, you know, as a non-drinker, I got a little close to the rocks. I thought, hey, that makes more sense than the guardrail. Maybe I did that. Anyway, so I get up in the morning, and there's that car with the scratched dent. And me and my husband are out there. I'm like horrified. And so, and at this point, I'm still hiding my drinking, so he won't drink, and really, so he won't drink. It's self-serving too, you know, whatever. You don't want to advertise the failure factor. But so we look, and I said to him, I said, yeah, I hit it on one of those shopping cart rails at Walmart. Well, they have cameras there, and I'm thinking, oh no, we don't want cameras there. It's okay. I'll just buff this out. It's no problem. We don't need cameras. But I was so horrified. I thought, well, now, you know, now I'm a danger to others. I've been a danger to myself for years, but now I have drugged the public into this, you know. I could have killed people or an animal or, and you know, and the horror of it all. So I knew I had to stop. And the problem with like reading your book and just getting it and just being so happy is wonderful. And hopefully 9 times out of 10, it works for people and they don't drink again. But, you know, your little alcohol monster's tricky. I think of mine as lying in wait, you know. Right now I can walk by a display of wine and, you know, it could be Windex, you know, for all I care. Every once in a while I say, well, that's a pretty bottle. I'd have probably got that one if, you know, I was still drinking. But it just means nothing to me now, you know. And but at first, you know, when I was doing it your way again, I had that day that the count froze up with the pills. I canceled the sale in the morning and decided to try it again, you know, this way. So the problem is, though, that's like 2 years of on and off drinking, and when I was on, I was on. You know, I didn't even know how I managed the job and everything, but I only called in sick once due to alcohol. So
I think that it's interesting because, well, so many things you said are interesting, but one of, you know, that idea of celebrating, like, oh, I'm so proud of myself. This was so easy, so I'll do it again. You know, I hear that definitely. That's not just you. I think a lot of people think, well, because it was so easy, kind of the first time, I'll do it again and get trapped again. But I do think that there's one thing that you should really recognize here is that you've had to prove it to yourself. You know what I mean? Like there's some people who can read the book and that's all they need. That's all the evidence they need. And then there's other who need to prove to themselves that alcohol is, you know, really actually causing the destruction and you just have to get to a point where you're certain and you're sure. And so it doesn't necessarily matter how long that takes. I know that obviously you'd rather not have the dent in the car and not have the black eye and stuff like that, but it is really all just part of the path.
Yeah. I mean, it's those blessings in disguise, I guess. But so being that I had messed around with this program so much on and off, I knew it would work. I knew without a doubt it would work. It worked for me the first time. And the problem is that you mess with it too much. You go on and off and on and off. I got to, in 2017, you know, by the time I decided I needed to quit, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. Although I knew it would work, I had stopped believing that it would work for me. And that was more subconscious because I just, anyway, so what I did was I had to completely immerse myself to get it back to where I believed again, and to where I had that freedom click. I watched your videos all the time, some more alcohol mastery and the Stop Drinking Expert. When I would put it on in the car. I drank. Ooh, where do we get back to that? I I I read book after book after book, alcohol memoirs and everything I could get my hands on, and it was a total immersion. And that the first 3 days of my last quit, it was like I was hanging on by my paper thin fingernails. And something about, though, getting to that third day, passing that third day, I had hope again. It still hadn't clicked, but I had hope that I could do it. Something about that 3 days. And so, I kept going on. I could not sleep for the life of me because I was putting myself out. Shoot, I would drink wine and, wash down an Ambien. Well, so when I was drinking, I banned myself from the phone after an unfortunate Facebook post. I just looked at it the next day and it was like, that was the sentence. And people were laughing. I'm like, one of the nurses like, her keyboard's drunk. And I was like, you're trying to downplay. You're like, I had my Ambien, and that makes you goofy. I left out the wine part. So anyway, but yeah, I just had to do total immersion in the car. The video was on, not looking at it, but listening to it. I had your book on audio, put that on everywhere I went. And the app, I just would talk to the people, everybody, since it's global, somebody's always awake. So if you have a question or you're going through a rough time, you get multitude of ideas to help, so it was, they pulled me through. By month 2 is when it finally clicked in again for me, when it finally worked. Because I was walking through the kitchen one day, and it was almost like an audible, I call it my freedom click. I was walking in the kitchen and I thought, hey, wait a minute, I have not been thinking about alcohol one way or the other. How to quit, how not, to drink or not to drink, that is the question.
That's awesome.
And that was just a miraculous moment from then on. And I do still try and stay on guard because, like I said, I believe my little alcohol monster he's in a coma or something. I'd like to think he's dead, but I know how he is. Whine and wait, just wait. Just like that one time I said, walk by a display, and most of the time it could be Windex or whatever, and I'm like, it's a pretty bottle. Oh, I'd have got that if I was drinking. But anyway, so he's still in there somewhere.
Wow, it's awesome. I love this. This is a great story that you're sharing, because I think that so many people do have to find, I did all that work before I kind of quit. I tried to quit so many times, and I did all that research and work, and then it was really sure for me. But I think there are times where you just need your own experiences. You need to prove to yourself that this is what you want to do. And then you do, I love the technique of just immersing yourself in lots of different voices. I find myself doing that when I want to learn something too, is because the way one person says it, slightly different than how something else says it. And then, you get different voices. And anyway, I really appreciate you sharing the story, because I think that a lot of people really relate to your journey.
Yeah, I always say it took a village to get me straight. But there was one incident I didn't mention, because to this day, I try not to associate it with alcohol, which is crazy. But anyway, 2011, I was off work. I had a brand new recipe for the crock pot I was really looking forward to. better than drunk me's ideas for crock pot use, but it's really good. And so I had and I've been, it was my first night off, so I stay up a little later and do things. And I had my beef in the crock pot and all my little seasonings, and I thought, I'm gonna go out and check the mail. This was January. And although it doesn't snow a whole lot here, which is another reason I don't need those snow boots, but anyway, I managed, I had those generic Crocs. Now, if you step on ice, if you step on a painted strip in a parking lot that's wet, your foot slips. Well, the neighbors across the way were moving a storage building, and I'm kind of looking at them. I step on the ice, I slip on the ice, I broke my shoulder. I had to drag it over here. I walked in the house, and I'm totally in denial. I'm like sitting on the edge of the chair, and my thought was, maybe if I just go to bed, I wake up, it won't be real. And then I started to feel myself go pale and sweaty, maybe into shock or something. So my husband was working nights at the time too. So I walk in there and I said, I need to go to the emergency room. And he says, okay, out of a dead sleep. He goes, okay. He leaps up, runs to the bathroom. That was my only lighthearted moment of the morning. I thought, he doesn't even know what's wrong with me. Probably thinks I'm having a heart attack. And anyway, but the point is to this day, as much as I know, I try not to blame alcohol. Well, because I didn't have my standard amount. I mean, I wasn't drunk enough to do that, basically. I mean, I had a couple of big glasses, maybe 3, who knows? You know, and that comes back to the thought, well, had you not had any, would you have seen the ice? Would you have paid less attention to your neighbors? And it's weird that to this day, I like to say, darn neighbors, darn ice, darn generic Crocs. Not, you drank a bunch of wine, you know. It's weird.
It is funny, plays tricks on us. Well, I have one more question that I always ask at the end of these, and that's, you know, really, if you were gonna go back and tell yourself, you know, not the self that was in that early days where you just found it really happy and really easy, but the self that really started to struggle and couldn't see your way out of it. If you're going to tell yourself about what life is like sort of now, and what would you say?
It's like, don't ever start. You're going to have to quit. It's not going to be pretty. I mean, don't fall for the hype. You know, it's an addictive liquid. Nobody ever tells you that. You do not want to be controlled by a liquid in a bottle. This will happen. And it will be awful. So, you know, it's a deceptive fun. Yeah, I disregard the honeymoon phase of alcohol. And now it's important for other people to kind of, you know, I mean, quitting has an end of the honeymoon phase where it's just you, it's just your normal life again. And that needs to be embraced. This is me. I don't drink. That is, it's not to the point where you would think, where the honeymoon of non-drinking ends, you want to sometimes think, well, maybe I can drink again. You know, no, it's just the honeymoon phase. That's fine. It's normal life. It's who I am, and it's what I choose to be. So I just like go with the flow anymore, you know, as long as the flow is not alcohol. But yeah.
That's beautiful. I think that's really well said. I think that's a really, really important thing for people to hear, that, you know, there is, and I've heard it articulated a lot of different ways, and some people do it, even they don't go back to drinking, some people do, but that euphoria of, so you're drinking and life really sucks, and then life gets so much better when you stop drinking, but then it really levels out. because life is just life. And so you've got ups and downs. And then some trick in our brain says, oh, well, wait, maybe I could add some excitement here, and just to really say, well, no, that wasn't, that wasn't good for me the first time, but that's really, really good thought.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Danita. It's been really cool. I love your story. I love your sense of humor, all the laughter. It's clear you're a very joyful person.
That does help you get through the worst of times. So, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, and just thank you again. It was a wonderful interview. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with people.
Okay. Well, thank you. And it was nice to video meet you, my best friend.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to tell you, every time I sign onto your app, it's new joiner. I just, wow. That's all I can say.
I know, it's so big.
Yes.
So big.
Yes. And it's good. It needs to, the message it's great. It's getting out there. So many people need help. So many people have been tricked into this. So anyway.
Well, that's so cool. That's awesome. All right. Well, have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
This has been Annie Grace with This Naked Mind podcast. Thank you so much for listening. You can learn more at thisnakedmind.com. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe, as it really helps us spread the word.